finally when I resigned, I just started thinking, actually, what is life? You get up at 6 a.m., go into work, you're the first one in, the last one out. What did you achieve at the end of the day? Because it's the safety. That's the only thing that kept me locked in jobs that I did not want to be in, because I was afraid, how am I going to pay my bill the next month? But now when I took the step, I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep work, but I'll make it work in my terms. No longer am I going to be making it work in a way that, I need to make sure I get my salary next month. Like, even if anyone wants to resign, right, they would say, I need to save like 1 year worth
And you
of
find another
pay.
job first.
Yeah, or find another job, sign the contract, then resign.
And you've been in corporate for almost 10 years. Were you earning 15 to 20K? And is your
No.
safety net very big?
No, it's very small.
Damn. Are you as broke as a starving artist potentially?
Okay, I'm dropping the level, so what's the point, right? So we're going to start off with the first question. You will never be rich doing what you love. Passion is a luxury, not a career plan. So what do you think about that?
When you talk about following your passion, you only truly have that when you are financially free. Because otherwise, it kind of is a bit of a rat race for most of us, I think. They don't have the luxury of being born rich or born wealthy. So once our basic needs are met, food, shelter, then only we can move on to pursuing our passions.
Just clocking in a 9 to 5 will probably just end up becoming like an NPC. There was an article not long ago where a guy quit his job, realizing that despite having worked there for many years, some other guy just came in and got a higher position and moved on a lot faster because he was related family-wise to the higher ups. Is it really a financial thing? Like, would I have rather be in this position or do something that I would rather enjoy and not feel like a wasted NPC just being in the background and not enjoying life? Yeah.
What would you say to that?
For some people, maybe a 9 to 5 is not for them. So they might, work freelance. They might want to start a business, raise funds, and go down that route. It's not so much of coming from a side of passion, but at the end of the day, what are they really motivated by? Which is, I feel it's actually money and financial freedom before they can actually pursue their passion.
If the argument is basic needs, and then basic needs is just air, water, food, technically...
You do need the air, yeah.
You don't need air?
You do need the air. So
I mean, that's free, right?
Is it though?
For now, it's not monetized yet.
Before they monetize it, yeah.
Some people are trying.
I don't think you need to pursue a high financial career in order to get your basic needs met.
I think it's more like a balance, right? Like, because if you can't be just on like both the two extremes where, yes, if you want to be this like starving artist and you create the best work, but then you still need to eat, you need to survive. If not, you'll die young and you won't be able to create the art that you want. I've met a lot of people in my career where they started off as like, okay, I might just do this rice bowl thing first so that I can do art on the side. But then they get caught up in the rice bowl. And before you know it, they're like pushing 50, 60. They don't have the energy or even the inspiration to do the art anymore. I'm in the middle here. I don't like the full-time like rat race thing. Even though I respect the starving artists, I personally can't do it, man. I need some aircon in my video games and some good ramen,
It's like for the starving artists, are they really thriving? I'm fully following my passion, but none of my basic needs are being met. Am I really in a position to thrive?
If you're talking about Singapore, it's a very different thing from like global artists and all that stuff. I have to say that being able to survive here, yeah, you need the money. There's no way, like if you even look at like some of the bigger artists in Singapore who are doing great work and like, international standard stuff, you check on them. They have a full-time job, or some of them they come from like well-off families where they already have a roof and a house and all that. They don't have to worry about,
Pursuing your passion is not wrong, for sure. I would really encourage that, but only when the basic needs are met, whereby they don't really have to worry about, food, transport, shelter, air conditioning for your video games, stuff like that.
Do you think that like people should be doing concurrently instead of like being settled and saved enough money and then they pursue art? Or should they be trying like, hustling, they call it these days, they're doing a full-time job, but then they're hustling their passion as well.
That's kind of like what they're always preaching these days, hustle culture. And honestly, I kind of agree with it. I mean, if we really look at things, everything costs money these days, right? From the moment you step out of your house, the clothes you wear, transport, getting to places, every little thing costs money. And someone's got to fund it. The money has to come somewhere. Or I would at least have a steady stream of, say, maybe 15 to 20K coming in, more if I have a family, before I would even think about pursuing my passions.
Well, you're saying like you need like 15 to 20K a month?
I mean,
before you can start falling into like,
I mean, that would.
I don't think I would have ever started.
No, I mean, that would really put me at ease.
If there's like a minimum, like where you can work with, is it 15 or is it lower? Like
the amount differs for individuals.
Yeah,
sure,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe for myself, I like to travel the world. So I would think that I would want to have a very solid base. Maybe like, some rental income, maybe a good mix of bonds, stocks, shares, some form of passive income before I would actually even think about pursuing a passion like that, especially in a society as expensive as ours.
It is a very expensive society that we're living in.
To be fair, and no offense, you've spoken like a very true Singaporean. Coming from a mixed background where my mom's family is in Thailand, money isn't the end all be all the time. You have aunties out there selling bananas that they sell from the trees that is from the back. And like, I feel like maybe it might be a very Singaporean thing where money comes first and then they see all the luxuries you may get with high finances. And going back again to basic needs, that's not a basic need anymore. Now you're talking about, ideally, I want to live a very comfortable life. I want to be hustling. I want to have side income where I don't need to involve a lot of my time and still draw money. But I'm talking about doing things that you like. And again, not every starving artist is planning to be a starving artist. Like at one point, Guns N' Roses were just an indie band playing in bars, right? And then at some point, they were hoping to get big. And then, there's also survivorship biases to this also. But I would say the ones pursuing their passions, I hope are also at least getting enough cash just to get by. But I'm sure they also want to eventually get big. Whether big means 20K per month or enough for them to buy McDonald's every day, I don't know. Because big means very, very different to a lot of people. Yeah. I still feel like the whole hustling thing is not really, at least for me, not something that I'm trying to strive for. I'm not trying to spend every waking moment checking my bank account, checking my Scythe, my interactive broker app for like my income. I'm just here to enjoy, take naps when I want to, go out for a walk, go to the gym at 2 p.m. when everyone else is in the office, and then do whatever. Like if I'm a night owl, which I am, and then do my like video editing at night, stuff like that. Yeah, but that's just for me.
We've heard all three sides, right? It seems like at the end of the day, there's two ways you can go about it. One is you chase the money till the end, and so that you can like live a very comfortable life. All right. There's also the others, like you earn what you keep, like you get what you can and you live happily with it. It looks like a passion versus like, safety. You've also mentioned about, how I'll be comfortable with this 15 to 20K. Because I'm also assuming that it's also you're looking at, okay, if something were to go wrong, I have the money on hand, emergency funds and all that. But here on the other hand, you're also like, okay, you know what? I want to live my life. 2 p.m., I want to wake up and I want to go to that gym. Now, it could also go the other way because it could be like, I have the money enough to wake up at 2 p.m., not work in a corporate and go to the gym as well.
But that's like a different level though, right? That's when you have enough money and then you don't have to go to work and all that stuff. Like that's quite a high ceiling that most people
It's about choices, I guess. Yeah. Like you have more choices, you have more.
But I will argue again, survivorship bias, where we all see these hustlers on social media and they're like, hey guys, this is the course I'm selling so that you can live the life. But like, the 100 that we see on socials, how many are at the back that are struggling to try to get that we don't recognize?
Even the ones on socials, they're in debt, man. You see these revealing videos where it come out with like, they don't live in those mansions or they don't own those cars. They're just renting it. Please don't follow the IG. because of this, like, what you were saying as well, the safety net, nobody went full on that artist route where they have no support and they're just gonna survive on whatever they have to create art. Do you think that is vital in creating really impactful like art? Is that why in Singapore, even though we have great world-class musicians, we don't see this type of like the level of artistry that we see from, the West or even like Japan and all of that, compared to, even Southeast Asia, some other artists? Do you think that the reason is because our artists here haven't gone through the really, really rough and rugged like process?
We always have to, like what he mentioned, to always keep one eye on having enough cash to get by. You can't really just let loose. A lot of the artists that I read up, even like Thai artists, they would either sleep on the streets or in their car. But in Singapore, having a car is a luxury. So where you gonna
Exactly.
Itself, right?
Exactly.
where you gonna sleep? I think there is some truth in people living in Singapore not being able to invest 100% of their time and passion into what they want to do. But also, I think there is a level of luck to it. If let's say, I don't know the story about Guns N' Roses getting big, but what if it was just a guy, a scout in a bar who happened to listen to them? But what if that guy came on another day and there was another band playing? Would that other band get big instead?
It's also because Singapore is like this successful first world country, right? Like where, like you mentioned, owning a car is a luxury. Because you hear the stories of these singer-songwriters in the States, like they head to New York with a backpack, sleep in the car on the streets. Can't do that in Singapore. Nobody comes to Singapore just like, I'll sleep on the streets and play like, busk at Orchard without a license and you get arrested. No.
I think a lot of it stems from what we value as a society. The labels are already given to us in our faces. First world country, most expensive city in Asia. We were kind of taught from a young age and exposed to it that we have to be successful. And by that, it kind of means wealth, which is why so many people are constantly being trapped in the rat race or the constant pursuit of more cash. So I don't entirely agree with that. But what we cannot deny is only when all these things are fully met, we can really let out a sigh and tell ourselves, okay, now we can fully pursue our passions.
So you're saying that even if it's not in Singapore, let's say like you live in Thailand or some other Asian country where you don't need to have that much money.
If we go look at the US, the States, I mean, you do get a more thriving art scene. For example, like Brooklyn or like New York, certain places like these, where even being a graffiti artist is accepted. I mean, can you imagine doing that here? Probably going to go to jail, right?
Gotta be sanctioned.
So, I mean, we are kind of being bound for a lot of things. The freedom of expression, the freedom for creativity isn't really there, which kind of what drives people towards the whole, okay, I'll go for something more stable. And if I really want to pursue a passion as an artist or like a singer, I might have to move abroad for that in future. I mean, that's a sad reality, right? We're just not getting as much support as some of our other neighboring countries.
How expensive it is to live here, that matters a lot. Like I mentioned, right? You were talking about being comfortable. It's like 15K-ish. And then to be able to travel the world. What about meeting in the middle, like much less than that, but you're not in debt. You have enough food. You have a roof over your head. And then you pursue like your passion. Would that work?
And what if an emergency comes up?
Right.
So again,
what about CPF? Like, if I'm very safe.
I mean, again, the point kind of goes back to having a safety net. But in the event of an emergency, will I really have enough to tide myself through? And which is why, a lot of people, they often say are like 1 or 2 emergencies away from like being cleared out.
Wouldn't there be like, something that's holding you back throughout your whole life, this constant fear? Because you can't predict, right? You can't predict like what's going to be happening to you, like emergencies and all that stuff. But if you live under that umbrella of fear, wouldn't that just hold you back? Like you won't.
Or you can spend a couple of grand a year on insurance. I mean, that works too, right?
You got to take on that one where he says like you need money, a lot of money
for safety.
As a safety net.
I think the point of how big is this safety net going to be makes a very interesting point, because I've heard of stories where a very well-to-do person gets maybe like a rare form of cancer or becomes paraplegic, and then that the surgeries and the aftercare basically wipes out all their money. So if the argument is to have a safety net, then shouldn't you not even consider not going for your holiday trips anymore? Because your net could be, you don't know how big your net is going to
Be
be.
wiped out, right?
Exactly. But then ultimately, again, the main thing is basic needs, right? If an emergency happens and it wipes out however much savings you have, then that's just life is, right? Life, you can never be too prepared, right? And again, the point you made about Singapore being expensive, and I agree that Singapore is very expensive, especially comparative to our neighboring countries. When you consider other countries, like what comes to mind is like Sweden, Switzerland. A lot of the European countries are very expensive. The US, you can't eat out and pay less than $10 per person.
US, especially like New York and LA.
Exactly.
But the taxes are high.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then we have a lot of European successful techno artists. We have a lot of successful US artists. So the price thing now, so they are arguably even more expensive than Singapore, but yet their creative culture is so much more vibrant than Singapore. I would argue the reason why Singapore is not really a price issue is more of Akong didn't want us to pursue creative pursuits. That's why he was so strict on us having PSLE, O levels. He was a big pursuer of human resources as the only resource that Singapore had. And I think in his picture, creativity wasn't part of it. He showed me the Nobel Prizes that we have. Like, where is our version of NVIDIA? It seems like we are more producing the people that are running the factories, running the companies, as opposed to the people coming up with the ideas and putting the ideas out there.
Passion cannot buy happiness, but money can. Now, earlier on, we had Zain talk about taking multiple trips in a year, going overseas. Now, do you think passion can fund that?
If you become successful, you're passionate.
That is only if you become successful. But if you are a broke artist or even someone who's trying to make it in the industry, do you think this is something that can work?
How you see your passion working for you. If your main goal for your passion is to be world famous and super rich, that's a whole different issue. But certain things like, a simple type of art form that gives you joy, keeps you sane, like even painting, that's worth it. For me, it's like, if I'm stuck in a job, like, 9 to 5, where something that I really hate, but I get like, OT, or like, the type of work that what I'm doing is mind numbing or whatever. And I get to, go to Japan or US 21 days, like out of a year. But the rest of it is still stuck in there being like miserable. I'd rather choose the one where I'm just earning enough to not to be in debt, and then I get to do what I love, the passion part, because that one keeps me sane, man. For me, I don't think it's worth it to be able to be stressing about it for the majority of your year and also majority of your life.
I want to hear your point on this.
I mean, there's one phrase that sums it up the best, I feel. Money can't buy happiness, but it's always better to cry in a Ferrari, right? I mean, that's what they always say. Personally, I might not agree entirely, but we can't deny money does give us options. And that's where my biggest point comes from. You have the option of taking the train, driving a car, going by private jet if you have hit that level. And you can pretty much spend the rest of your life pursuing your passions after all these things are met.
So if you're stuck in a job where you are making money but you're miserable, is it worth it though?
Well, then there are other ways to make money, which is where the whole hustle culture thing comes from again. Work some part-time side gigs. You can work on a business on the side that might generate extra money for you. With AI algorithms, you can create shadow social media accounts that generates money. So basically, my point is, all these different revenue sources would come together and one day provide you enough of a safety net for you to finally pursue your passions fully.
When you are thinking about hustling culture, you're already working an 8 to 5 job, and then you're doing a side job after you come back home. So where's your rest? So by the time, even if you were to hit the ceiling, the income ceiling that you want, you might be 50 or so. So with that, I'm going to ask you, what do you think?
I think if that guy's passion is in hustling, then he should just do what Zain is doing.
Well put, well put.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. If your passion is about hustling and, having a private jet, then sure, pursue your passion, I guess, For some people, yes, it would be great to have like a private jet or a private villa in Bali that you own, but that's not the goal of your life, right? Like for me, if you ask me, I'll be like, yeah, I would love to just do like, documentary photography and make photo books and make a living out of it. Sure. Not happened yet, but that's the goal.
I think personally, at the end of the day for myself, it's not really about huge riches and being a billionaire or like, having like 8-9 figures in the bank, but it's more of security and peace for myself. Can I go to sleep at night knowing that I'm well taken care of in the event I cannot work? Can I go to sleep knowing that, in the event of there's any emergency, I will be covered? My life wouldn't be upended in any major way.
In the event where things went the opposite way overnight and you do not have that financial security, how would you feel?
I'll shit in my pants like any other normal person would do. But then that question could be posed to the hustler too, right? It's not about the passion guy being broke. Like, what if the hustler guy had an emergency and then he became broke? Then how would he react? I think if it's targeted to the passion person, like, if let's say he's really starving, he was close to zero anyways, what's like rock bottom is just like this close to his position, so why not just start over? You've lost everything. What's there to lose anymore? Maybe, you know what, I'll be a hustler after that. Like, let's say becoming a starving artist doesn't work, then I'll just start drop shipping on Shopee or something.
Yeah, I guess like for hustlers, if you say like, you want that safety net and all, but I mean, if you take into consideration what life is like, it's uncertainty all around, right? You wanted to be like a photographer, right? But you said, I'm going to have enough money. Suddenly a chicken attacks you in the face. You're blind. You can't do anything anymore. Even though you had about like 20 years where you could have pursued while you're also working. So for me, that's why I think it's a nice balance.
It's very
There are a lot of feral chickens in Singapore, I've noticed.
Yeah. Better get insured for that.
I know. Hey, that's like
it's like
that's a new product that we could actually come out with. You heard it here first, right? Like chicken insurance.
I think at the end of the day, the goal is never to make as much money as you can. Rather, the goal is to make enough to sustain your lifestyle while you pursue other things. So I feel while I am mainly money driven, for sure, I'm not going to deny that, I do leave some time and some avenue for me to pursue my passions only in maybe say short bursts, and effort primarily will still be spent into going after these multiple revenue streams, just so that in future that time that I have allocated for my passions can slowly get more and more.
You don't follow your passions at all type of thing.
Yeah,
you are following it, but it's just a incremental, like slowly.
More like a hobby.
Yeah, it's really more for recreation. My priority still comes from the hustle. But when the hustle starts to show more results, I can probably allow myself some more avenue to tune up the time for the passion slowly.
There's two stark differences right now I can see. One is someone who follows their passion when in the incremental stages versus someone whose life revolves around the passion and they build a career out of it. What was the opinion in your mind when he said it's like it does it in an incremental basis?
I have heard multiple stories from friends and friends of friends where they have a career and what they wanted to do ended up just becoming a hobby. But over time, work/life/family took precedence over the hobby part. I guess that's when midlife crisis happens, because you've invested all your time and energy to every other thing except yourself to a certain degree, and then you're like now buying leather jackets and buying motorcycles and high rocks. So I think I'm hoping that by pursuing my passions as my form of living, that I wouldn't have that motorcycle jacket issue.
You got to be real with your following your passion as well, right? Where you look, we're in this industry where we're doing creative work, but it's not always actually art. It's not what you want to do, right? You still have to do what clients want. So there's still a balance that you're using your passion to make a living.
Or rather that balance than working for a boss during the entirety of the daylight hours. Yeah, that's how I would.
I do agree with that. Yeah. I'm sitting in an office and I have to do things that I don't enjoy. Do you do that, by the way?
I think, well, at the end of the day, you know,
Are you in an office?
right? No, I'm not. Like, these points are valid, but I think at the end of the day, it's a very sad reality that 95% of the world is profit driven. It's a bottom line driven society that we live in. And most companies, if it's not helping their bottom line, they are really not putting it at the top of priority lists, which kind of gives rise, you know, these days we're often told to prioritize the profit, follow the money. And while it's not the end all be all, we cannot deny that not having money causes a whole entire host of problems in itself. So while I'm agreeing that following your passion is a good thing, and there really might be certain times where it has to take a backseat compared to that. We can't have it all sometimes, you know. If we want a loving family, we want to provide for them. We all want our families to have the best of everything, right? For sure. And all that costs money. So at the end of the day, sometimes it's about, you know, whether it's putting yourself first or it's putting your families, your kids, your aging parents, you know, it's something that not many people have the luxury of choosing.
Passion versus what you're good at. What will your take be?
I have read so many instances, you know, where professional basketball players, right, NBA players, so they're earning like hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's not even what they want to do. So, you know, not every professional athlete actually is doing it out of love for the sport. Sure, most of them are, right? But a lot of them at the end of the day is because of the fame, the endorsements, it pays well. So, yeah, I mean, that in itself already...
Yeah, like
reinforces
this
the point.
thing, like I heard recently from Professor Galloway as well, like one of the motivational speakers that I kind of like look up to. He did say that like you got to do what you're good at instead of what you love doing. Because what you love doing, sure, if you can somehow make money out of it, sure, it's a blessing, right? But if you're good at something and you don't dread it, that's something that you should follow. And I agree with that totally.
But like, what if my superpower given from my parents was that I'm really good at drinking beer? Am I now pursuing a career of drinking enough beer and earning money from that? Like,
it's more of like, you know, if you can make money out of what you're good at, if you're lucky enough, if you find out, you know, even though you don't really enjoy, then sure, you should follow that. I mean, if you're talking about drinking beer, I'm really good at video games. If I'm good enough to
but that's
be
where
competitive,
Twitch comes in.
Sorry?
That's where Twitch comes in.
Twitch.
And everyone, yeah.
But then if you're not good at, you know, talking to the screen, then there's another problem as well, right? But if you manage to find something that you're good at and then you can monetize it, then I think you definitely should. It's a better thing than following blindly about what you're passionate about. So I do agree with that, because for me, it's like, I'm passionate about basketball and all that. I'm not that good at it, so I can't make money out of it. So I do other things like voiceovers and stuff. So that's where I can make money.
If your passion is making vases or, you know, doing pottery, however, you make the most worst looking vases and pottery stuff, right? But you want to make like nobody's going to buy it anyway, you know? But versus if, let's say, if you're very good at admin job, and then you join the company and you are like the top there. So would you still stay?
If I'm so passionate about something, but I am rubbish at it, for example, like I'm bad at playing basketball or whatever, I would find a way to make enough money so that I can continue being bad at this.
If you have to do a job that you don't enjoy, you're miserable most of the time, is it worth doing that safety net thing? Or should you pursue, or like, not the full passion thing like you said? Why don't you find something else that you do enjoy that won't make you miserable, but also can give you enough, like, you know, money to survive on?
I think we have to be rational sometimes, you know, for the good of ourselves, for the good of our future. Yes, you might be miserable doing a job, but if it pays you like 20K a month,
So everybody's got a price, right? So
I mean, the price is different for everyone, I'm sure.
I guess. Yeah,
but it's about what makes you tick at the end of the day, right? I'm not saying you can't be passionate. No, I'm not saying you can't be passionate about something and earn money at the same time. But sometimes when push comes to shove, what is your price?
We're talking about passions and being good at, but no one's like, oh, I'm really good at marketing. I'm really good at human resources. I'm really good at making people's life terrible while they report to me every day. Like, that's not someone's passion. That's not what someone's good at. Like, no one's born with like, wow, Timmy, you're very good at accounting, huh? Like, no one does that, right? Like we're just talking about passions versus money. And I think whether you can monetize what you're good at / what you're passionate, go for it. If you can't, then I guess you gotta suck thumb and figure out something else. But no one's going to XXX company private limited because, bro, hire me because I'm really good at accounting. Trust me, look at my resume, look at my cert. Like, no one's doing that. Yeah.
All seen people monetize their hobbies only to end up hating them because of deadlines, pressure, and toxic clients. Is turning your passion into your 9 to 5 the fastest way to kill the magic of it?
I wouldn't say that it's worth it, because I have seen people who are passionate about stuff that they push themselves too hard and accepted jobs that they shouldn't have, and they lost the fire because of that. It's not because they hate the process, it's because they hate the clients and the people that they have to deal with. So you got to be very careful. You know, again, for me, it's like, it's always about the balancing act, right? Like you gotta take the jobs that you won't be miserable with, basically.
Now I'm gonna ask the hustler over there. Yeah.
The hustler. Well,
Because being an hustler means you also handle your own businesses and everything. Has the magic died yet?
I wouldn't say I'm purely chasing the money in that sense. So personally, I like starting businesses, creating new ideas and watching them come to fruition. So being an entrepreneur, definitely you fight fires every day. You know, the set of problems that you face are different. So I wouldn't say the fire has died off, but at the end of the day, it's about preserving your bottom line, making sure that the revenue streams aren't really affected. And if that means sometimes having to deal with unpleasant clients, or even like, you know, dealing with some unpleasantries or like all that, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the dollar, right? So we'll just suck it up and we'll move on and we'll try our best.
I mean, that's part and parcel with, like, you know, even for people who are following their passion, like you have to deal with uncomfortable stuff and all. It just, what I was saying is more like, is really making you miserable type of thing. But from hearing you say that, it does seem like, because you're an entrepreneur as well, right? It's not that you're just chasing purely money. You do enjoy being an entrepreneur.
That's what I'm saying. His passion is hustling.
Yeah, like, yeah, starting businesses and all of that. So it kind of like contradicts where he's like, must follow money. Because what he was saying also is more of, you know, hey, nobody goes to a job saying like, I'm good at accounting and then gets a job. We're talking about those type of jobs, and then following your passion and the things that you want to do. So I think there's a kind of a difference.
How many feel good stories have we read in our lifetime of like lawyers leaving their craft to pursue like opening a cafe, opening a bakery? I just read the other day a lawyer left his well-paying job to pursue selling Pokemon cards.
That's a trend.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I've read so many stories of people who are comfortably earning, who end up leaving that job to pursue something that they want. So is it a example, which there are many, of people who initially pursued money and be like, you know what, screw that. I actually hate this life and I want to do something that I actually enjoy for me.
I read a story recently as well. This lady was a software engineer. She was earning like $7,000. She left all of it, and this happened in India. And she started being a rickshaw driver. She's earning far less now. That in Singapore value will be about $1,000.
Oh.
Yeah, but she has said, I've never been happier. I think in the corporate world, right, one thing we need to take note is that yes, we're chasing the dollars, we're chasing the, you know, the power that comes with it. Like if you're VP of a bank and you walk up like, yeah, I'm the VP of the bank, you know, like it's a total different, like a ball game, right? But at the end of the day, right, what boils down to it is like when you are reaching the end of life, and you turn around like, what was I? It's like, okay, I have done all this, I've achieved. Was I happy? This is two things that goes. So there are people who are like this. Then there are hustlers like him who, enjoy doing work. Yeah, they're very different. You see, because this is corporate world, this is a hustler. He's a very different ball game as well, right? And he enjoys what he does.
Which I will argue is a passion.
Yeah, it's kind of like a passion.
I know. I was going to say that. I was like, it is part of your passion.
I feel like under the bottom line, it's still his passion that's fueling him. And he's looking at the safety of it rather than not luxury.
Dinner's on you, bro.
If I really am rolling in money,
It's not about luxuries, but more of like, I want to make sure that if anything would have happened, I still have something, right?
That's what gives most people that peace of mind.
In the corporate world, that fear is, for me, how I see it is like too big, where if they leave their, kind of like stable full-time jobs, they won't be able to survive, because it's like, even though they're earning like thousands of dollars, they don't want to leave because they feel like it'll all fall apart the moment they leave.
Not everyone can stomach the uncertainty,
Right. Yeah.
or like, of not knowing when your next paycheck is coming in.
Maybe it's just us kind of like creatives being a little spoiled. I feel like, we're like, hey, I'm not happy doing this. I should be doing that.
Yeah. I think
overall thinking like that, right? Where it's just like, some people are just like content and they're working and providing to the society. Like, are we just being like selfish?
I think it's a fact that most people are just not risk takers predominantly. And that's okay, because we're all meant to do different things, right? But at the end of the day, that paycheck does provide you security. It does allow you to sleep a little better at night, knowing for a fact that come this time next month, there will be food on the table. My mortgage, my car loans, and my kids' education will be covered.
Sorry, I will argue that stability and financial pursuits are not the same thing. Just because you are not, you're risk adverse and you rather have the stability of a full-time job, does not equate to, not wanting to pursue your passions, or just because you are in a stable job, I'm earning like 15 to 20K a month. So back to the topic at hand, stability in a stable 9 to 5 doesn't mean I'm earning big bucks. But at the same time, I also don't think pursuing your passion necessarily means you are a starving artist.
We can see like a person who's working in a corporate life, everything must be safe. Versus an entrepreneur mindset, and a person who has passion, right? When they are already locked in, right, they will probably take the risk. And even if they know that, okay, they do not know where's their next paycheck going to come from, they will get into it and get it done. Versus somehow, because I'm from the corporate life, and yes, for me, what is very important is the safety of my next month pay. But when you reach a certain level or age where you start thinking, is that all that it is to it? Like being in the corporate for almost 10 years, finally when I resigned, I just started thinking, actually, what is life? You get up at 6 a.m., go into work, you're the first one in, the last one out. What did you achieve at the end of the day? Because it's the safety. That's the only thing that kept me locked in jobs that I did not want to be in, because I was afraid, how am I going to pay my bill the next month? But now when I took this step, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take the risk. The mindset shift is very different. So I'm like thinking, yeah, I need to make it work, and I'll somehow make it work, but I'll make it work in my terms. No longer am I going to be making it work in a way that, I need to make sure I get my salary next month. That shift and the mindset at the end of the day is something that we have to look into. Like, for example, Mr. Hustler over there actually mentioned something that I think all Singaporeans also grow up with, is the safety net. Like, even if anyone wants to resign, right, they would say, I need to save like 1 year worth
and you
of
find another
pay.
job first.
Yeah, or find another job, sign the contract, then resign. That's the kind of thing that we have been brought up with. However, that means when we come to people who are passionate, that means they want to be like artists, even broaden the expert entrepreneurs, or there's a lot of people that then their creativity, their passion gets, stifled in that sense, because they're like, if I don't follow this norm, this safety net, I cannot be successful, or I won't have money. What do you think?
I think I got a few questions. So since based on the topic of this discussion, and you've been in corporate for almost 10 years, were you earning 15 to 20K? And is your safety net very big?
No, it's very small.
Damn. Are you as broke as a starving artist potentially?
I'm dropping to level, so what's the point, right?
If I have to pursue money versus passion, why not try doing the passion thing first in your 20s when you're young and you have no obligations? You have nothing to lose. And then once you realize you're a total failure in life, and then you become an insurance agent or a property agent.
Oh my God.
A lot of my friends becoming property agents.
Oh, wow.
Well, I would think, when I'm younger, in my teens, 20s, 30s, I would chase the money. I would actually try to get out there and do whatever
But would
earns
you
me the
have like
most.
joined like a corporate like position like
Well,
that?
if I hadn't been doing this, I might have gone into sales because that would be something that it's being controlled by myself, my own time, my own commissions, my own targets. If I wanted more, I had to work for it to earn enough of a safety net before I actually start pursuing other things. I mean, yes, I keep going back to this, but I do feel that having that ability to really sleep well, knowing that you are covered in the event of any emergencies and you can even take like a gap year or so if you really earn enough and, take a year off, pursue your passions. But while you still have the energy and while you still have the drive, you should be out there hustling.
Most people are not earning 10 to 15K to have a big safety net. Like how he was talking about, like, Nandini, 10 years, how's the safety net like? So it's there, but, it's not like crazy how super safe type of a thing. Then how? For that's the majority of people, I feel. Like where we're not earning, even like, straight out of like uni.
Average salary in Singapore is like just over $3,000.
$3,000, yeah. So even if you get like, 6K and 7K for about a decade, that's not big enough safety net for sure. Then why wait until the safety net is bigger? Why don't you, again, balance, right? You pursue your passion and see how you can make money out of it while you're doing.
I would say to that, what if you are pursuing your passions, but you have no idea when your next paycheck is going to be? We all would love to pursue our passions. In an ideal world, we could all be doing what we all love. We could all be doing what we want. But how many of those things are actually paying the bills?
Let's throw the argument instead of always attacking the starving artist. How about the guy that pursues real estate or insurance, hoping that he can reach the status of whoever recruited him with his stories about cars and traveling and bonuses. I mean, from what I understand, the turnover rate in these industries are pretty high also. But they were going in with the hope to earn big bucks.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the starving artists. Like, I'm pursuing my passion, hopefully getting recognized or big bucks and or both. But so many fail. And so many people pursuing money also fail. Again, I think it's a huge survivorship bias thing where we see the people online who are living the dream life and making us be like, one day I'm going to be that. But if all of us were successful, then who are we going to scam? I mean, sell our products too.
I love that.
That's valid,
It's very valid.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to leave.
I swear I did not map them. All right, so let's strip away the middle ground. Would you rather look back at age 60 as a broke creator who stayed completely true to their art, or a wealthy executive who built zero personal legacy but has $5 million in their bank?
I think I would argue, because that single contention of value that we are putting on ourselves feels very, in the scenario where I'm an artist and I follow my passions. Do I have a family? Do I have pets that I love? Do I have a life in that past 60 years that I enjoy, regardless whether I was a passion guy or a hustler guy or a 9-to-5 guy? Like, there's so many other things that I would take into consideration before I say, you know what, I do regret doing that.
I personally feel at age 60, you are still really young. At age 60, with $5 million in the bank, you still have a good 10 to 15 years to really enjoy your passions, get out there, do what you really love.
But your knees won't be like, see.
No, but if you buy my product, you can 10x that 5 mil. Hustlers hit this one trick.
Still young enough to get out there and do what you love. So yeah, give me the wealthy exec any day.
If I'm 60, $5 million in the bank, but I've never done anything that I've done in my career creatively that fulfilled me, then I would have to choose a 60-year-old, where how broke is broke?
$0 living on the street, maybe.
Was on the streets a bit hard, bro. I come from a third world country. I'm in a first world country. I can't be like, thinking like that.
Okay, maybe $100 a week. That's it. That's all you have in your bank. $400 a month. Maybe that's your pension money. because you didn't save enough, you didn't have CPF contribution?
Come on, you know the answer, man.
This one is tough, man, because I've been living here for over 20 years. I'm so fond of my video game collection, books, and my aircon. So I got to go with the CEO, man. Unfortunately, even though I want to balance it out, but if, gun to my head, I can't survive on $400, man. That's for sure. At age 60, nah.
Maybe porridge every day.
Porridge is expensive these days, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Don't forget inflation.
When we're coming to a conclusion, even though passion is there, meaning like we all would love to go and do something that we're passionate about, money still talks. Regardless whether you're a hustler, where you have 15,000, a very thick safety net where you jump up and down, it's beautiful, or a passionate creator who makes just enough so that his bills are covered and he's got food and roof over his head, right? Ending is money, right? We can always have passion and be the poor broke guy at 60, 5 million in the bank. So but it also entirely depends on you at the end of the day, right? So you be you at the end of the day, all right? As long as you live your life to the fullest and every experience that you get along the way is something that you're happy about and it's a learning experience for you, I think that's good enough
This
for
answer
me.
sucks. We need to give our audience a...
Come give me a controversial answer.
I guess just don't be miserable and be a dick about it.
That brings us to the end of this session. What we have heard today aren't necessarily facts. They are reflections of our own experiences, values, and how we choose to look at the world. Whether you're team passion or team money, the goal isn't to win the argument, but to give you a different lens to look at your own journey. Thanks for leaning in with us. We'll see you in the next debate.